Okay, so the first piece, I guess, that we're going to record is I've decided to continue doing those Hep Huddle videos based on the feedback that I was getting. I wish I'd get more feedback. I'd like to hear from everybody. So, so there's many people that didn't get back to me, but for those that did, I've definitely heard some great things. And so I'm certainly motivated to keep the content coming. I guess the one change I'm going to make is, instead of just group meing you guys to death, because I post a video and then I smother the group me's, and I'm like, I'm just going to ask people to subscribe. Okay, so your leaders, you'll be getting that message like, hey, just subscribe. But I'm not the weird part is I'm not trying to get I'm not trying to get popular online or anything like that. I want to keep this internal. All the material I'm making is obviously very specific to our business. So it's weird asking people to subscribe, but I think that's the best way to let people know that new videos are popping. So I appreciate that feedback. Kevin, you were the first to point that out. Like, just get people to subscribe, obviously, duh. I'm like, oh yeah. I also started a Facebook page called Hep Huddle where I can kind of post it on there. I'm not sure how much interaction I'm going to do with Facebook. I don't think anybody even really uses that anymore, but apparently it's got the most amount of users on there. Apparently, I know Sabs is big on TikTok, but we're just waiting for TikTok to get pulled from from the internet. We'll see what happens with that. But anyways, I won't be doing TikTok anytime soon. Today, obviously we're talking about game planning, and this is nothing new for you guys. You guys have been hearing this from me at this time of year quite often. I am going to be changing some things up, however. So here's what I want to do. I want to start off by showing kind of the old stuff, what we used to do. Okay, so this should look familiar right here. This is last year, right? Now, 4 pages long. And so I've been doing this, I think, since 2007. Ken Gutnick introduced this to me, this strategic planning model, and umbrella, the vision, and then your mission, your values, come up with strategic initiatives. And so I've shared this with you guys. Last year, we walked through this in detail, right? 4 pages long. And I'm going to be following the same process personally. It's been working for me year after year. So I'm going to be following that same process. But I started asking myself, I'm like, how do I get more people to succeed in this game planning process? When I say succeed, here's what I tend to see often year after year. I think a lot of leaders and owners will fill this thing out. They get excited in December. They've got their plan for the new year, and okay, looks good. They share it with people, looks good. And they start off with all the right intentions. And then sometimes they'll hit people up in, let's say, June, okay, like almost halfway through the year. And I'm like, hey, how you doing with your goals for the year? And many times I've had people like, I haven't really looked at it since January. And I'm like, okay, so then that process isn't working. If you haven't looked at it since January, whatever that process is, it's not working. So I've been searching for the simplest process I could come up with. And I started with the wizard. I went to Gary Polson. I'm like, hey, Gary, here's what I want to do. I showed him last year's process. Hey, Brennan Falkerson, you're like, what's the process that you're doing? How do you set your goals? Obviously, you're having a great year. Your owners are doing really well. And so what I'm going to share with you guys is really a collection of brains that came together to say, okay, here is a 1-pager. Okay, so this is a 1-pager that I'm going to be emailing everybody. I've also created a Hep Huddle. It's going to be episode 54. It's going to air on December 26th. So this may be a little redundant. Somebody who's watching this video and then watches that episode 54. It's really 2 of the same. But that's going to be airing. And again, it's a 1-page document that if you guys follow this process, I'm led to believe you're going to have a stellar year. Now, I know that might sound a little crazy. Really, you're going to have a stellar year? Let's just kind of start off with this before I share that document. Goal setting, okay, as I understand it and as I've heard over the years, first thing to observe is when you set goals, it doesn't guarantee success it just increases your chances of success happening. So why wouldn't you take every advantage you could to increase your law of average? I mean, we preach this to our guys all the time, like, fine tune your pitch, like, have your pitch down pat, that, you're maximizing on your territory, you're increasing your law of averages. So that's what goal setting does for starters. Like, listen, if you do this, if you follow the paint by number system that we have, it's not guaranteeing 2023 is going to be a great success, but it is increasing your odds of success. Okay. So that's the first thought for you. My second thought for you is, this is a living, breathing document, and there is an action item I'm going to ask for you guys to set some recurring calendar items here. But because it's a living, breathing document, you can morph these goals, you can change. So whatever you write up in December/January, listen, if you're off track come February, you pivot, you change, you lower that goal. But look at it like the Constitution. You can add amendments to the Constitution over and over again. That's what this goal sheet is really all about. So I wanted to share those two thoughts starting off with you guys. So any questions before I share this long one pager? I'm being facetious when I say long. All right, here's the one pager. All right. Goals 2023. Look, one page. I'm scrolling. That's the bottom. That's it. Simple. Keep it short and simple. So when I talked to GP, okay, this one, he's like, man, you can't remove this. You want to simplify this? Gary was like, or sorry, I take that back. The vision piece. He's like, the vision piece, you can't remove this. Like the theme, the vision of the year, the mission statement, who are we now? The vision, who do we want to be? We'll be talking about our vision hundreds of times in 2023 in interviews with reps, with owners, our org, our website, etc. So you want to have your vision down. Like it really identifies your purpose. So it's well worth our time to put some thought into this, right? It'll be our guiding compass. Again, this wasn't changed at all from the previous year. And Gary and Brennan in particular, they're like, yeah, you got to have this. Now, I'm calling this, or what I'm looking for here are quarterly plans. So that's one change from last year. Last year, an annual game plan. This one's like, you know what? Can you come up with a Q1 game plan? Can you come up with a Q2 game plan, Q3, Q4? Right, so it is a quarterly game plan. And then here's where the magic happens. This is the real big ask, because if you guys do this, right, you create the vision, and then let me just cover this real quick before I get into that big ask. We're calling, instead of strategic initiatives, we're just even dumbing this down. Like, listen, what's your big focus for the quarter? Big focus number one, big focus number two. Okay, like what are they? What are the big focuses? And then the action. If you want a simple way of putting like the action items, who does what by when? Like write that out. But come up with two big focuses every quarter, right? So you're only doing this for 3 months, and then you're coming up with a new plan for Q2 with 2 new big focuses. You can have a vision. Listen, there's no right or wrong with this. What I'm noticing, some people are doing a vision for the whole year. Some people are doing a vision for the quarter. Whatever suits your fancy. However you want to play this, it's totally up to you. But your big focuses more than likely are going to change from quarter to quarter. And then back to this piece here, monthly follow-up. Are you willing to schedule a monthly call with somebody? And I've got 3 questions I'm going to follow up this little presentation here. I've got 3 questions to follow up, but this is a big one here. Are you willing to schedule a monthly call with some mentor to follow up on your plan and your progress? So I've been doing my homework. I've got 7 people that I'm doing this with in 2023. And I'm going to be documenting everything, like how, where were they at? Everything, like their dollar per rep, cash in the bank. Like, let's just look at all the stats at the beginning of the year and where are they at the end of the year? I'm hoping at this time next year, I can be like, guys, 7 out of 7 of these owners wildly successful. But with each one of these owners, we have a date, a recurring meeting once per month, and it's on their calendar, it's on my calendar, and we are jumping in together to go through their game plan. I really think if you do this whole goal setting process without doing that, right? If you don't do that, you potentially could be that guy that you're asked in June, hey, how you doing with your 2023 goals? You're kind of like, oh, gee, I haven't really thought about that since January. We want to avoid that. Every month you're thinking about this. Every month you're communicating with somebody, a phone call or a face-to-face meeting, but you're setting up some type of meeting to just go through the plan. You're soliciting ideas. Obviously, a good coach is going to give you a pat on the back and give you some well done when you're doing a great job. A great coach is going to be asking you good questions to challenge you. But you need somebody that you can have a scheduled meeting with once per month, 12 times. These guys all know, these 7 individuals, they know, I mean, the calendar invite I sent, the thing expires after 12 occurrences. Okay, meeting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then after 12, it's over, it's done. Ideally, these 7 people like, dude, can we do that again? I see the lift in my business. Can we do that again? Or at this time next year, they're like, dude, that was a total waste of my time. Hep, I'm glad it's over with. We'll see what happens. But you need somebody that you're willing to do this with. Okay, so here are my questions for you guys. And again, this is it right here. I'll stop sharing screen. I'll chat a little bit. Here's my 3 questions. Do I have a mentor in my life that I can meet up with consistently so that I can level up? If not, who could I reach out to? But you need somebody in your life that you can have these monthly meetings with. Ideally, somebody you would call a mentor, somebody you look up to, somebody who cares about you, that wants to see you succeed. Okay, but that's question number 1. Do I have a mentor in my life that I can meet up with consistently so that I can level up? Number 2, when I do work, am I intense and ferocious? When I do work. Like, what is my industriousness like? That's kind of how I put that. Industrious. Industrious is being diligent and hardworking. So when I am working, am I ferocious? Am I grinding? Am I hustling? And so maybe a sub question to that is, am I skillful in identifying what the most important things to do are? I mean, there's a great Peter Drucker quote that I think of often, because I'm always sensitive to this, because if I'm not good at that, I'm just going to end up wasting time. I don't want to be really good at doing the unimportant things. I mean, there was a time in my life I used to say to Ken, I'm like, Ken, I feel like I'm the master of the C priorities. I've got my calendar and I'm so good. I check those C boxes like crazy. I'm the master of the C. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be the master of the C priorities. Like, oh, Jamie, you're great at doing unimportant things. No, I want to be great at doing only the important things and blowing the unimportant things off. So Peter Drucker said, managers do things right. Leaders do the right things. Right? So managers do things right. You know, managers get hired to do things right. Hey, you got a job to do? Do it right. That's your job. I'm a manager. I do things right. The leader does the right things. So am I skillful in identifying the important things? And I think this monthly process of meeting up with a mentor will help that. And when I am engaged in work, am I diligent? Am I ferocious and intense? And then my 3rd question for you, I know it's kind of a long way of throwing these questions at you. Obviously, my career is important to me. Obviously, your career is important to you. What else is important that I can set goals around? I mean, it's one thing to come up with a business plan. And obviously, I think we're all going to do that. I think you all buy into this. You've heard it long enough. Those that fail to plan to fail. But are there other categories of your life, relationship with significant other, spiritual goals, physical goals, getting into shape, reading goals, finance goals? I think it's good to have multiple categories. And again, talking to Gary about this, his suggestion to me is just ask people to set some physical goals. Again, keep it simple. You get your business plan you're putting together, and maybe you come up with some physical goals, like when you're hitting the gym, how well you're eating, because he's like, that's important to everybody. Everybody wants to be in good shape. So those are my questions. That's the plan. I'm going to follow up this call, emailing that one-page document. Feel free to share with as many people as you want, but I am asking everybody, hey, find somebody that you can meet up with. Again, I've done it 7 times. I've been doing my homework for the last 2 months prepping for this, and I've cherry-picked 7 individuals, and I said, hey, I want to do this with you. Do you want to do it with me? I was met with some enthusiasm. I was met with, again, figuring out that time slot for recurring windows 12 times over the year. And I am led to believe that these 7 individuals are going to have a fantastic 2023. So any questions here?
When do we get the document?
As soon as this call ends, check your inbox and boom.
Sounds good to me.
Thanks for this, Jamie. Is there any way you can include those 3 questions that you just asked too as well in the email?
Sure, of course. Yeah, I never thought of that, but yeah, I'll put that in there for you. Those are just, I mean, listen, where those questions came from, these are questions I ask myself as I put together my 2023 plan. So that's kind of where those questions came from, like, again, when I am working, am I intense? Am I ferocious? That's a Jamie to Jamie question. And of course, what else is important to me? So yes, I'll share those questions with you guys for sure.
How would you implement this into your core leaders? Like, when in particular would you kind of utilize this for your core leaders as well? Because I feel like some version of it should be applicable. And as long as you have multiple people with that kind of execution, I mean, we all should be tier 1 by the end of next year.
Well, yeah, I mean, let me just think about the simplicity of this, right? So again, let's just say you've got 5 core leaders in your office, right? And you're asking them to come up with a vision every quarter and 2 big focuses with action items. Again, that's simple. Like, what are the 2 big things you're really focused on? Well, I want to get better at recruiting, Dom, right? I want to get better at my interviewing. Like, I'm not there yet. I want to get great people on my team. Okay, so big focus number 1, what's your second big focus? And then what are the action? What are you going to do to make that happen? I mean, think about it. If you're meeting up with them every month to go through this plan, your core leaders are leveling up. Like, again, I think they're going to appreciate that one-on-one time that they're getting with you. They know that you're going to be looking at their work, and they know that they've got, work to do, and they want to be prepared for that meeting with Dominic. I think really the magic is in the monthly one-on-ones, in my opinion. I think that's the one piece I haven't been doing a great job of over the years, is setting that stuff up or explaining that with you guys. I mean, that is something that I've been doing, again, since 2007. Every month I meet up with Gary Polson. Like, there's not a month that goes by that we don't sit down face to face and go through this kind of stuff. And it's awesome. I mean, I'm addicted to it. So I think if you guys set up those meetings, right, and you're not loosey-goosey with it, but again, you set it up in your calendar that it pops up. Oh, and maybe you could even use it as an incentive. Like, hey, you become a core leader in the business, you get a monthly one-on-one with Dominic here. And in that monthly one-on-one, we go over your quarterly goals. Oh, that's awesome. What do I got to do? Well, first, let's set your quarterly plan. I mean, this could be something that is just implemented all year long, and people are motivated to become core leaders to get an extra layer of development from Dominic.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, the follow-up meetings are key. Those are the keys. Now you could ask me midway through the year, because now I've got my strategy, you know, as I'm going to the Wizard. I always call it Gary the Wizard, you know, going to the Wizard of Oz. You know, me as a coach, I mean, how can I be effective in those monthly meetings? And so maybe I'll have another call just on that, on as you're coaching your core leaders, you know, on this stuff, you know, how can you really make the biggest impact on this? You know, how can you, what can you do to increase the probability of this game plan becoming reality? Because I think there is some science to that. It's not just you guys meeting up, it's you meeting up as a great coach, knowing how to push people, knowing how to get people to elevate their game. Like, when do you challenge? You know, when are you patting on the back? Like, I think there is some science behind some unbelievable coaching. And last I checked, that's the job we all signed up for. I mean, that's where we all get our passion, is coaching and developing people. So this should be right in everybody's wheelhouse.
Agreed. Makes sense.
So ask
Appreciate
me,
you.
ask me in a couple months what I learned from Gary, but he's going to help me out in my meetings.
Cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jamie.
Can you go over what like the format is for your meeting with Gary?
My format, maybe on a different call.
Okay.
It's not just going over goals. I mean, how am I doing with my marriage? I mean, the list goes on. How are your kids? Yeah. But it's usually a 2 to 3 hour meeting. So we cover a lot. Yeah. I make it easy for him. I drive up to Brentwood to go see him.
I'm sure it's painful.
Well, it's painful driving through LA. Yes.
Oh, yeah, true. Well, your car drives itself.
It does drive itself, and I come home with 120 ounces of salsa from my favorite restaurant every time too. So my kids are like, "When are you going to go see Gary next?" I'm like, "All right, you little guys, I'll get the salsa."
Yeah, that's good. I'll get the salsa.
Yes. Okay. Anything else, you guys? We're pretty much at time. I don't know if there's, again, you have a homework assignment in front of you. Do this, fill out the one pager, and find yourself a coach. Doesn't have to be your promoting owner. Doesn't have to be anybody in the org either. I mean, just, hey, Adam Dorfman, you know, you and I work together on retail. You know, do you think we could set up a monthly recurring meeting, you know, for the year 2023 to go over my game plan? I mean, I think you'll be met with a lot of enthusiasm. So I don't think you guys are going to struggle in finding good coaches to help you. But that is your homework assignment. Fill out the document, come up with your plan, find a coach, and set up your calendar that once a month you've got a meeting, and let's see how this 2023 shakes out for everybody.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right, you guys, have yourselves a great day. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.